David spends $487 on groceries every single month and cannot explain why his cart looks exactly the same as before. Sarah spends $340 on groceries monthly, buys almost identical items, and has $147 left over that David does not. David is not buying more food or shopping at pricier stores than he used to. His habits have not changed at all. His grocery bill increased by $147 per month, $1,764 per year, without adding a single new item to his cart. This is what inflation looks like in practice, not as a percentage on a screen, but as money leaving your wallet. Let's run the real math on where David's $147 went and what the total inflation cost looks like over 5 years. David earns $64,000 per year and has been buying the same weekly groceries for his household of 2 for 4 years. In 2022, his average weekly grocery bill was $85 per week, $340 per month, same brands and quantities, always. In 2026, that exact same cart now costs $122 per week, $487 per month at the same store with the same brands. The Consumer Price Index for food at home increased by approximately 23% since January 2022 through April 2026. That 23% increase on a $340 monthly budget produces exactly the $147 monthly increase David cannot account for. David's $340 grocery bill in 2022 was 6.4% of his take-home pay, a completely manageable monthly household expense. His $487 grocery bill in 2026 is 9.2% of his take-home pay, a meaningfully larger share of every single paycheck. Let's break down which categories drove that increase because inflation was not evenly distributed across all food. Eggs increased by approximately 67%. David's monthly egg spend went from $8 to approximately $13 over 4 years. Beef increased by approximately 31%. David's monthly meat spend went from $62 to approximately $81 over 4 years. Butter increased by approximately 38%. David's monthly dairy spend went from $24 to approximately $33 over 4 years. Cereals increased by approximately 26%. David's bread spend went from $31 to approximately $39 over 4 years. Fruits and vegetables increased by 14%. David's produce spend went from $58 to approximately $66 over 4 years. Non-alcoholic beverages increased by 22%. David's drink spend went from $41 to approximately $50 over 4 years. Cooking oils increased by approximately 41%. David's oil spend went from $12 to approximately $17 over 4 years. Coffee and tea increased by 29%. David's beverage spend went from $18 to approximately $23 over the same 4 years. The categories that rose most are the ones David buys most often. Eggs, meat, and dairy hit his budget hardest. Now let's add non-grocery essential cost increases that compound the inflation impact beyond what he sees at checkout. David's gas costs rose 28% since 2022. His monthly fuel spend went from $180 to approximately $230 per month. David's electricity bill rose approximately 19% since 2022. His monthly utility spend went from $95 to about $114. David's car insurance rose 34% since 2022. His monthly premium went from $127 to approximately $170 per month. David's renter's insurance increased by 21%. His monthly premium went from $24 to approximately $29 per month. David cannot cut gas costs. He drives the same distance to work every day regardless of what the pump price is. David cannot meaningfully cut insurance. His insurer raised rates across the board and switching saved only $8 monthly. David cannot cut electricity significantly. His apartment uses the same energy to stay heated and cooled year-round. Adding groceries, gas, utilities, and insurance, David's essential monthly costs increased by approximately $629. That $629 monthly increase represents approximately $7,548 per year, leaving David's budget without his choice. Sarah faces the same price increases, but her response to those increases was fundamentally different from David's. When Sarah's grocery bill started climbing in 2022, she immediately ran a full audit of every item in her cart. She identified 23 items bought out of habit that she could replace with store brands without meaningful quality loss. Sarah tested every store brand over 6 weeks. She found 23 acceptable and only 4 that were not worth switching. Sarah's switches include pasta, rice, canned goods, frozen vegetables, condiments, cleaning products, and cooking oil. Switching those 23 items to store brands saved Sarah approximately $41 per week, $164 per month immediately. Sarah also adjusted meal planning to build around whatever protein was on sale each week rather than fixed recipes. That meal planning change saved Sarah approximately $22 per week, $88 per month in meat costs consistently. Sarah's grocery optimization reduced her monthly bill from $487 back down to approximately $340 per month total. Sarah is buying essentially the same nutritional value as David. She is spending $147 less every single month. Now let's look at what David and Sarah each do facing the same $629 monthly essential cost increase right now. David absorbs the $629 by reducing monthly savings from $420 to $0 and using his credit card for shortfalls. David has not made irresponsible decisions. He simply has not adjusted behavior to match the new price reality. The difference is not discipline. It is that Sarah audited her spending when prices first started moving upward. David planned to review his grocery spending when prices settled. Prices never settled, and the review never happened. Sarah absorbs $488 of the $629 through grocery optimization and by adjusting 2 other discretionary categories. Sarah still faces $141 of unavoidable essential cost increase. She cannot optimize away through any substitution. But Sarah's optimization leaves her $147 more per month than David facing the exact same inflationary environment. Let's look at what that $147 monthly difference compounds to over 5 years at 10% annual return on investment. Sarah, investing $147 per month for 5 years at 10% return, produces approximately $11,400 in portfolio value. David investing $0 per month because inflation consumed his savings produces approximately $0 portfolio value. The $11,400 gap came from a difference in response to the same price reality, not from a difference in income. If Sarah continues investing $147 per month for 10 years, her portfolio grows to approximately $30,000 at 10% return. If Sarah continues for 20 years, that $147 monthly grows to approximately $111,000 from one grocery audit alone. Now let's be honest about the limits of optimization, because not every household can absorb these costs equally. A household already buying store brands with no discretionary spending has no optimization lever left to pull. A household with children requiring specific foods for health reasons cannot substitute without real consequences. A household in a food desert with limited store access cannot easily comparison shop between retailers each week. For those households, inflation is more severe, and solutions require structural support beyond personal budgeting alone. But for most middle-income households, 5 specific strategies meaningfully reduce the grocery inflation impact today. These 5 strategies are not about deprivation. They identify where inflation created real substitution opportunities. The goal is not minimum food spending. It is the same nutritional value at lower cost through deliberate substitution. Strategy 1. Conduct a full store brand audit and test 1 substitute per week to find acceptable replacements. Strategy 2. Build meal plans around weekly protein sales rather than fixed recipes, reducing meat costs by 20%. Strategy 3. Buy non-perishable staples in bulk when on sale, capturing the sale price for months of supply. Strategy 4. Reduce food waste by planning meals using the same ingredients across multiple dishes each week. Strategy 5. Compare unit prices, not package prices, since manufacturers reduce contents while holding price steady. Strategy 5 refers to shrinkflation, reducing package contents 10% to 20% while holding the shelf price constant. Common shrinkflation examples include chip bags down from 16 ounces to 13 ounces, and cereal boxes reduced by approximately 15%. The unit price strategy catches shrinkflation per ounce price rises even when the shelf price holds completely steady. Shrinkflation is a hidden price increase that does not appear in the CPI but directly reduces your purchasing power. David has experienced shrinkflation across 14 items in his cart, getting less without seeing a higher price tag. Here is the complete 5-year picture for David and Sarah starting from the same income and identical price increases. David at year 5 has paid $37,740 in cumulative essential cost increases with zero portfolio growth from savings. Sarah, at year 5, has paid $26,220 in cost increases after optimization and built approximately $11,400 in portfolio. The 5-year gap between David and Sarah from responding differently to identical inflation is approximately $22,920. David is not unusual. Most people absorb inflation passively because each price increase feels too small to act on. Sarah is not exceptional. She ran one audit and made substitutions that took approximately 4 hours of her time. The difference between David and Sarah is not sophistication. It is one 4-hour grocery audit completed just once. Anyone can do what Sarah did. The only requirement is one afternoon testing store brand alternatives systematically. Not from earning more or investing differently, from responding with a spending audit rather than passive acceptance. So the next time your grocery bill feels higher, ask yourself one question before accepting it as unavoidable reality. Have I audited every item in my cart in the last 6 months and tested every viable store brand substitute available? Because that audit, not your income, not the economy, is the one variable you actually control in this equation.